What's up, y'all? Good morning, everybody. Saturday morning, June 21st. Welcome to the Podcast with Soul. Make sure you follow me on the Podcast with Soul on my Instagram, same name, and also follow me on the Podcast with Soul on Spotify. Thank you for coming here. Welcome to all of my new subscribers. Shout out to all of the women that have come over to my platform. Thank you for coming. Shout out to all of the dudes that have come over to my platform. Thank you for coming. Thank everybody for coming. I appreciate y'all. I am an in-courtroom observer. I have gone to the Puffy trial every single day except maybe 3 when I went to Tampa to shoot an interview on Inside True Crime with Matt Cox related to this very topic, which is the Puffy trial. Make sure you go check that interview out. It was good. This is my first sip of coffee for the day. I'm a coffee drinker. It ain't that good, but I'm gonna still drink it. The prosecution has rested its case, or almost has rested its case yesterday, which was Friday the 20th. I left after the Brendan Paul testimony, who was given the title the drug mule. And what we talked about with Brendan Paul, the drug mule, who was supposed to be, who was hyped up to be, who was made to be, who was given the aura that he was a drug mule, and that he was going to be the one, that his testimony was going to be the one that pushed everything over the top and guaranteed Puffy a conviction or guilt. I've always thought that. I was always, from the very first day I went to this trial, I thought Cassie was going to be that person, that something she was going to say, some evidence that they had, some story Cassie was going to tell was going to be one to just annihilate Puffy and make this case a no-brainer that Puffy is guilty of RICO, SEX trafficking, and SEX, the selling of the body. That never came. It never came. It never, ever, ever came. Once Cassie got off the stand, it changed. I said, well, wait a minute, man. This girl done got on the stand and testified under oath that she initiated some of the freak-offs, a lot of them, that she was a willing participant, that she, in and of herself, reached out to the male entertainers and set up the deal. She paid them. You know, all of this came out in her testimony. She loved Puffy. Puffy loved her. This was a real relationship, although very toxic, also although very jealous, a lot of infidelity. But at the end of the day, these two people loved each other. I don't condone Puffy assaulting Cassie, because he did. I don't condone Puffy committing battery on Cassie, because he did. And I don't condone domestic violence against Cassie, because Puffy did. I watched my mother in the 70s go through the exact same thing to a much higher degree than what we saw on that videotape at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. And what was also astounding to me, when they discussed the video of Puffy assaulting Cassie, What was astounding was that that was actually a 6-minute video or more. And what was done by mainstream media was to loop that 13 seconds over and over and over, and then create the image of guilt based upon a 13-second looped and looped and looped clip. What we didn't know and what we found out under Cassie's testimony is that she never called the police. There has never been any 911 recordings. There are no police reports ever in the 11 years that they were together. That 13-second video was actually a 6-minute video where later on that night, or either the next day, Puffy and Cassie got back together. She went by his house after that video, and then they went to the movie premiere together for one of Cassie's movies. This is around March the 5th, 2016, March the 6th, 2016. Cassie was asked on the stand, did you love Puffy? They say Sean Combs in court. Did you love Sean Combs? She said yes. And I believe Sean loved me. On the stand. The assistant U.S. attorney, do you hate Puffy? She said no. The assistant U.S. attorney asked her, do you still love Puffy? And she jumped up and she caught herself because she wanted to say absolutely. But what she said was, after a brief pause and catching her composure and knowing that her husband is in the audience and Puffy is sitting right there, her heart is conflicted. Her mind is probably with her husband and her kids, but her heart and soul is probably still with Puffy. She said, I loved our past. So when she said that, and I think that was one of the final things she said, I said, well, what mainstream media has said about her past and this vile, villainous monster that Puffy is, how could she love their past if it was so horrible? But it all came out that under Cassie's testimony that it wasn't, it was a loving relationship, right? With ups and downs, just like any relationship. Right after that, I said, man, this, I started to say, like, man, well, what is we doing here, man? What is this? But I'm still on the edge of my seat. I'm still rocking with the government. I'm not rocking with them, but I'm still thinking, man, they got a hammer that they just ain't pulled out yet, and they gonna bust Puffy upside his head with it. Witness after witness came. Dawn Richard, the girl from DIDDY came. Diddy, Dirty Money. She committed 13 perjuries on the stand. Sued Puffy for $6.45 million. I said, this is a witness? Then came Mia, met with the government 27 times. She lied on the stand. Turns out she's suing Puffy for $10 million. She's victim 2 or whatever. Then comes Jane Doe. Her testimony. She's a willing participant in the hotel nights. She sets them up. She reaches out to the male escorts. She makes the travel arrangements for them. She pays them or doesn't pay them. Jane Doe, just like Cassie, when Puffy is not around, when Puffy is with some of his other women, they get with and have sex with these male escorts without Puffy around in a regular consensual situation. Jane Doe meets with the government 24 times. She has an immunity deal. Mia has an immunity deal. Jane Doe this is her lifestyle. This is what she does. She was after money, after Puffy's money from the beginning. Her testimony was a bust. Brianna Bongolan, Cassie's friend. Cassie and her, perhaps, potentially, had a romantic relationship because Brianna Bongolan only likes females. Cassie and Brianna were friends together for 1 year before Cassie got the nerve to introduce Brianna to Puffy. And when Puffy first met Brianna, he told Cassie, I don't like you hanging with her. Because all Brianna did was keep Cassie high. She was on all kind of drugs, Brianna. Percocet, acid, ketamine, GHB, weed, cocaine, Tusi, ecstasy. You name it, Brianna was on it. And Brianna used Cassie and Cassie's money to buy drugs to get both of them high. Cassie and Brianna concocted a story about a balcony incident on the 17th floor, allegedly to have taken place in Los Angeles, California, at Cassie's apartment on her balcony. But if you read Cassie's civil suit, Cassie describes in there, and Cassie ends up being a liar. She describes in there that the 17th floor balcony incident was at a hotel suite. It came out under cross-examination by Nicole Westmoreland that Brianna and Cassie got together and put their minds together and brainstormed about what elements of the story that they were gonna put in the story so that they can agree, so that when Cassie filed her $20 million suit and Brianna filed her $10 million suit, the stories could match. They didn't do that. They made a mistake. Brianna got on the stand and said that it was at Cassie's apartment in Los Angeles and that she was looking out at the view and that Cassie didn't see it. Then she later came back and said, yeah, Cassie did see it. What were you doing on the balcony, Brianna? I was smoking a cigarette. Oh, no, wait, I was smoking weed. Oh, no, hold up, wait, I was pretending to smoke weed. 3 different recollections about what she was doing on the balcony. Put up pictures of these bruises on her leg with the metadata on the phone of September 26, 2016. Come to find out, this was during the Bad Boy reunion tour, and that Puffy was here in Newark, New Jersey on September 24th, September 25th, September 26th, September 27th, September 28th, and he checks out of the Trump International Hotel on September 29th. The incident that Brianna said happened on the balcony at Cassie's apartment and the metadata that Brianna supplied on the phone to the government was September 26, 2016. So obviously there was no way that Puffy could be in LA and New York at the same time. There was evidence in hotel receipts from the Trump International Hotel showing that Puffy was ordering room service 5 times on September the 26th, 2016, that he was at a signing at Macy's in Manhattan on September 26, 2016, and that he was up in Harlem at the Boys and Girls Harbor Benefit with Cassie on September 26, 2016. Major perjury on the stand. Right there, to me, the federal prosecutors lost their case, because it later came out that the prosecutors knew that the story Breonna and Cassie had was a lie, that it was a fabricated story. Who else? Breonna meets with the government 8 times. The day of Breonna taking the stand, her first day being a witness, her and Cassie are texting each other that morning. Capricorn Clark, the arson situation. Capricorn Clark lies and commits perjury, from what I read, and I didn't even read the whole transcript yet because that was the day I was in Tampa doing my interview. But from what little I read from the inner city press transcripts, she lied 3 times. She said she was on the phone, that they kidnapped her, and she called Laura London, Kid Cudi, and Cassie and told them, they got me kidnapped, and Kid Cudi were at your house, and Puffy is in your house with security. Come to find out, in Cassie's civil suit, it's referenced that Puffy allegedly says, I'm gonna blow up Kid Cudi's car. Come to find out, there are no eyewitnesses putting Puffy at Kid Cudi's house. There is no video footage putting Puffy at Kid Cudi's house. There are no fingerprints of Puffy being at Kid Cudi's house. No eyewitnesses, no video footage, no photos, no DNA, no fingerprints, no nothing of Puffy being at Kid Cudi's house or dropping the Molotov cocktail in his car. The DNA and the fingerprints came back to a female. These are the witnesses. Kid Cudi gets on the stand. Come to find out, him and Cassie had a relationship for over a year, having consensual sex while she was still dealing with Puffy. It wasn't just 1 month. And that Kid Cudi was in love with Cassie. And then he told some fantastic stories about him and Puffy meeting up and this kind of thing. This is the testimony that was given. And then yesterday with Brendan Paul, the drug mule, what we're talking about and what the federal prosecutors were talking about was $5,000 worth of drugs. In the indictment, it talks about intent, with the intent to distribute. We're talking about $5,000 worth of drugs. Of that 5,000, 4,200 of it was weed. More than 80% of it was weed. They found cocaine on Brendan Paul. 0.7 of a gram. That's how much cocaine they found on him. 0.7, not even a whole gram. Puffy didn't know he had it. KK didn't know he had it. He had forgot about it after cleaning up one of Puffy's hotel nights. Ecstasy, ketamine, MDMA, Tussie, all of these other drugs that Puffy may or may have took were in very small quantities. Very small quantities, indicating personal use. There is no distribution, narcotics with the intent to distribute. The guns, one gun, was it one gun? I think it was one gun in LA and one gun in Miami that maybe had the serial number defaced or scratched off, or maybe it did. But after these Homeland Security agents got cross-examined, you know, Mark Agnifilo did an amazing job on the dude in LA. What was his name? Lamont, something Lamont. And then the other dude in Miami. All of the guns, no guns were found in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the living room, in his kids' room, in the dining room, in the den, in the backyard, on the patio. None of the guns were found in any place like that. They were not all over the house. All of the guns were found in his security office, which is when you enter his properties, there's a security office there with licensed security that he hires, right? These ain't no niggas that he know off the street like, yo, be my security. This is a licensed security company that are licensed to carry. All of the guns are found in that building. And this is their case. This is their case. There's no force, no coercion, no trafficking, no arson, no kidnapping. Capricorn Clark testifies that she had a crush on Puffy. She used to call him chocolate. This whole case comes down to Puffy and his sex life. It is not against the law to have sex with a woman with baby oil. It is not against the law to have sex with a woman with Astroglide. If his fantasy is to watch his woman have sex with another man and he stand in the corner butt naked and masturbate, hey, knock yourself out, kid. These are not crimes, right? Sean Combs, the way they termed it in here, an enterprise. Maybe I'll do another video on that. But this is just my recap. I'm a 24th floor in courtroom observer on the 24th floor. That's the overflow. We get to watch the court proceedings on 2 big large screen televisions. I have been in the main courtroom on the 26th floor one time, but I haven't missed a day. And I've heard everything. And this case is a big nothing. This is a big nothing. And Puffy should be acquitted. He should be found not guilty. And he should go home, because there is nothing there. And mind you, that all of the witnesses that testified against Puff testified under compelled testimony, which is supposed to be inadmissible in court. All of these witnesses worked for Puff. 2 of them said that they still love Puff and that they still feel great about him and that they were made to testify. And if it was their choice, they wouldn't have come. All of these witnesses were pressured by the Southern District of New York, Department of Justice, Federal Prosecutor's Office to testify or get charged and potentially go to prison. So they got up on the stand, and this is what they said, what the government needed them to say in order to attempt to approve a RICO case against Puffy. 2 witnesses, this is 5 counts, 2 witnesses didn't even show up. One witness, I think witness victim number 3, Gina, she didn't even come. Victim number 5, she didn't come. This case is a travesty of justice. It's a perversion of justice. It's a subversion of justice, and it's a subjugation of law on behalf of the Southern District of New York and the prosecutor's office. That's the recap, and I'm going to do another video. Talk to y'all soon. Sean G. Peace.